I'm going to show you guys how to wire a on-off switch to a light. So what you guys are going to need is 12 volt battery, 12 volt light, going to need an on-off switch, a fuse holder, 15 amp fuse, and some wire. I'm going to be putting some Amazon affiliate links to all this stuff down in the description below. Some of this stuff, when you buy it on Amazon, is a lot more than you need. Like this wire, for instance, comes usually in like a 25 or a 50 foot rule. So I would just go ahead and buy it so you can have extra for future projects. And it's so cheap, you might as well. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and get our wire and our fuse holder. We're going to take our first wire, split it in half. Go ahead, take the fuse holder, connect it to the wire we just split. Take the other side of the wire and connect it to the other side of the fuse holder. So you basically just got one long wire with the fuse in between. Then go ahead and attach that to the positive side of the battery. Go ahead and get your switch. This switch has a green and a white and black wire. It does not matter which side you use. The only thing that would happen if you reverse them is off would be on and on would be off. So if your colors aren't the same, you can test it out and see which way is right. I'm going to go ahead and take the white and black wire and attach it to the end of the positive wire we just hooked up. I'm going to go ahead and get our light. This light has a red and a black wire. Going to go ahead and get the other wire coming out of the switch and attach it to the red wire coming out of the light. Then we're going to go ahead and get another wire, attach that to the black wire coming out of your light, or the negative. Then we'll attach that wire to the negative part of the battery. And we'll go ahead and turn it on. Alright, well, the light's not working, so we'll go ahead and get our 15 amp fuse. Put that into the fuse holder. Put it in there snug, close it up. Alright, let's see if it works. It's working, guys. Super simple and cheap way to hook up a light to a battery. And if you guys want the setup to be permanent, some of the things that make this job a lot easier and I would recommend using are these little wire connectors here. You can get them pretty cheap and there's no soldering required. So that's always a plus. I always hated getting out my soldering gun and having to solder them and then heat shrink them and all that. So these are pretty much both built into one. They have 2 strips of glue on each side and a very low temp solder in the middle, and a heat shrink is the clear part. So basically how these things work is you would put one side in here touching the solder and the other side this way. Basically looks like that. Has the glue on each side, low temp solder in the middle, and you can get a heat gun, heat this up, and it will actually melt the solder in the middle without melting the plastic, because the solder in the middle has a lower melting point than the heat shrink on the outside. So yeah, these connectors are pretty sweet and you can get them pretty cheap. So another thing I would recommend possibly using is these little battery terminal connectors. You can get these pretty cheap on Amazon. I'll put an affiliate link to all this stuff down below so you guys can check it out. But yeah, basically these things are just for attaching it to a battery. Depending on what battery you're using, you might not need these, but if you are using a regular battery like this, I would suggest getting these. But yeah, you basically just put your wire in there and crimp them down so you can attach to the battery right there. But yeah, those things are pretty nice. And for stripping your wire, this tool is really good and it's pretty cheap, so I'll tell you guys how it works. Basically, this thing pinches down your wire. This thing cuts it and pulls it away. So I'll show you here. Just like that. Makes the job a lot more easier, and they're so cheap you might as well buy them, and pretty high quality. You can use them for other projects as well. So, and when you hook up your light, what I like to do is get these little plug connectors. These things are pretty cheap. You'll need one of these little tools here, but usually when you buy this thing, it comes with this as well, so you can hook up these little connections. I'm not going to show you guys how to hook these up, but you basically just have your light with the little plug coming out of it like that, and then you have your connector on the other side to where you can just unplug and plug back in your light. I like doing that because these lights are cheap. You can't really take them apart, and if they ever burn out, I wouldn't want to have to cut my electrical. I think it's nice just to be able to unplug it and replace the light. So yeah, I'll put an upcoming video on how to use these little connections, because first time doing it was a little tricky and couldn't find anything online, so I'll do a video on how to attach those. But yeah guys, that's pretty much it. Hope you all enjoyed. Make sure you drop a like if you did, and I will see you all in the next one.